The Prophet of Thought series.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Prophet of Thought series right here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. I'm your host X, but you knew that already. That's why you're here. Tonight, got a good show for y'all tonight, but you know we always have good shows for y'all. But I gotta say it anyway. Tonight, got a good show for y'all tonight. We're going to be talking with BlackMaleTalk. And y'all know how we do it up here on T.P.O.T. So, you know, it's probably going to be no holds barred. And we're going to chop it up a little bit about, I guess, the black paradigm. We'll talk some issues that affect black men, black women, black children, black society. We might talk some black media. So, you know, here at T.P.O.T, we kind of let topics create themselves. So we're going to go in on that. Also, donations. I received a few donations. Those of you who donated, you know who you are, because you know every time you donate to me, I make sure that I write you a personal email back thanking you for your contribution. So I know a lot of y'all that don't like me to call out y'all name and stuff like that. I'm cool with that. But y'all always know I always get up here and start the show with thanking y'all because I want that to be part of the show. Even though I've already written you a thank you, I want to thank you on the air. And you know who you are. Also, tomorrow, make sure you have your black behinds here because y'all know tomorrow, Thursday night, the Unicorn 4 is going to be in the house. And tomorrow, it's the Unicorn 4 and Dark Exodus. So you know we're going to be going in tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be asking the question, is consciousness a con? Yeah, so make sure you're there for that. Should be some good stuff, you know. I don't know, we might invite a few other people on the panel. I don't know yet. You know, you're going to have to tune in tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time to find out what's going on with that. You know? So, now, we're going to be speaking with Brother BlackMaleTalk. What's good, brother?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
I guess we can get right into it, man. Mm-hmm. Last week you were in the chat room on Unicorn 4 broadcast, you know, another arm of T.P.O.T, because T.L.O.T is just another arm of T.P.O.T. And you were on there and you were saying that you heard some bashing going on. I want to know why you thought that was. Why did you think that we were bashing, per se, quote unquote bashing people?
Right. I guess when I first came in, and like I said, I did come in the middle, and I think I reconvened, and I even put it in the statements. I came in at the middle, so I was going to rewatch the video over to go find out what had already been said. But in the time of the stuff that I was coming in, I gave my opinion on what I thought about it on the statement that the lady was giving out, and that was my opinion at the time of what she said about the Black community, and there were some good facts that she did put out about the Black community, about stuff I do agree with. I am very analytical, and I believe rather than us just going off of emotions, we need to use facts, especially in nowadays. If we only go off of emotions, that's why the Black community, we get railroaded so many times, or we don't win the battles that we need to win. And that's why I was saying, like, hey, when you talk about the intellect of the Black community, that to me, I feel like a part of it. It's no different than if me as a Black male, I say something about Black women, it comes off as a negative connotation against Black women. If you understand what I'm saying. So that's why I asked, can you be more specific? I understand that they felt some type of way. They timed me out before, so when I actually put out some more stuff that I wanted to ask, but I was like, it's okay. I said better for us to talk as gentlemen and or ladies, and we actually come to actually be able to hear each other out and actually have a good talk about it. So I'm all for supporting Black people, but then when it comes to sometimes some things that we say, it's kind of hard to retract back our statements if we don't get all the factual information and actually combine it together.
So, of course, I went to your channel.
Yes.
And I watched some of your stuff.
Thank you. I watched some of your stuff also.
Yeah. You got some good stuff. I give credit when credit is due. You have some strong opinions, but you have some good material. Your material is good. Your message is pretty solid. That's why I agreed for you to come on, because I don't invite clowns on my show. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go and check your shit out, see what you're talking about. I'm gonna do all of that first. Then I'll be like,
I feel you with that. You can't just let anybody on your show.
Yeah, this brother's solid. So yeah, he can come on. So yeah, you got some good stuff, man. You talk about some good shit. This is the thing. Normally on this type of medium, you have pretty much a prototype. And T.P.O.T, we try hard not to be a prototype. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're not a prototype. We talk about all kinds of shit. I mean, I have many different arms and facets. I mean, this is the Proper Thought series, meaning that there's a series of things we do. I mean, the Unicorn Force, they're a different subject. They're just a total different arm of T.P.O.T. But I have series, man. I have 5 or 6 different series that I do. I do Dark Exodus. I do the X Explained series. I do the Unapologetically Man series, the X2 series. So there's a series, ergo the name. So you'll catch us talking about a whole different type of stuff, man. But we don't work the side of the block where we tell a lot of truths. The people who are part of it, we tell a lot of our truths on T.P.O.T. T.P.O.T, there's a lot of truth with T.P.O.T. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, every member of this team, tells you them truths, man. And you don't get that everywhere, but you do get it here. You get it here. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. because a lot of times when we doing this media stuff, you know, people think we're all alike. We all talk about the same shit, but that's not true. I know I don't. I try hard not to talk about the same shit that everybody else is talking about.
Oh yeah, you don't bite your tongue. I see that. I had somebody hit me up in a Facebook group, and they told me about your channel. They were like, "What you going on the Prophet of Thought, bro? You better watch out, man. That man don't care what he says." I'm like, I think I'm going to enjoy talking with him, because that means if a brother, I respect unapologetic black man, like James Brown said, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud." That doesn't bite his tongue on speaking his truth as a man. That's what we need. That's what we lack now. And nowadays in the black community, we have a lot of people, rather than say what needs to be said to the masses, they say what wants to be heard to the masses. And I feel like there's a very big difference, especially in the black community, with brothers and sisters. There's few that actually will say it, and I can appreciate you for saying that. That's why I was say, hey, y'all, come check out the Prophet of Thought series. This brother, he speaks a lot of gospel truth. And for him to have women to back him up that says that they are actually paying attention, because it takes a lot for if a black man going to have a strong black woman to follow him, he got to have some type of validation of truth for her to want to listen to him. So I respect that. I respect that wholeheartedly, that you stick to your guns, and I just give you all praise for that.
I appreciate that, man. I couldn't do this if it wasn't that way. It wouldn't make any sense, man, for me to be telling people to do shit that I'm not doing, have not done, or not prepared to do. You know, I don't expose all of my life on the internet, but I'm pretty straight up with the people that watch me and the people that follow me. I guess that's why people donate to me, and they, you know, they look out for me, man. And they stick with me from medium to medium to medium, you know, because they know I pretty much, it's either hot or cold with me. You either like me or you hate my guts, but I'm never going to BS you. There's never going to be a reason for me to BS you. You know, that just doesn't exist for me. You know, that goes for you, the people I'm aligned with, you know, within media, my team members, they know anything may come out of my mouth, but what always is going to come out of my mouth is truth. Okay. It's always going to be truth, you know, not saying that people are always going to like it. Of course, they're not going to like it. You know, most of the time, you know, we have that thing going on with us, man. We got that thing in our brain as black folks that, you know, truth just shames us. Not the BS that we do. That should shame us. No, it's people telling the truth about it. That shames us. You know, we got it all mixed up, flip-flopped. But the thing that I admire about your message is that you tell people a lot of shit they don't want to hear too. And that's what I believe it is. The people who tell the truth are usually the people that are least listened to nowadays, you know?
Right.
Because nowadays, a brother that I know, I call him Professor Cerulean. He always says that our people think it's always party time. It's just party time all the time. That's what he always says. And I think that mind state has hurt us so much on so many different levels, because party time ain't all the damn time. All right. And we have that it's party time mind state. And I think that hampers us, man. I think it slows us down. You know, that's why T.P.O.T exists. I mean, I want to do my part, my whatever you want to call it. This is it. You know, it's not about money. It's not about notoriety. It's not about none of that shit. Because as far as money go, I work for mine. Okay. I don't need to get famous off of this or make a lot of money off of this. I do this for a different reason.
Right.
And I do this that if I can just open and change the mind of one person, and I say this a lot, and those of you who follow me know I do. If I can change the life of one person, if I can keep one brother from dropping out of school, if I can keep one sister from dropping out of school, if I can keep one brother from going to jail, if I can keep one girl from getting pregnant at 13, if I can keep one brother off drugs, if I can save a life, if I say something that causes you to make a decision that saves your life, if any of that happens,
Respect.
one person, all of this shit is worth it. All the money I spent on computers and programs and BS and all the signs and crap, it's all worth it, especially if I save one life. That makes it all a success. The equipment, the cameras, all it makes it all a success. And every person that I save after that, every person I help after that, makes it more of a success. That's always been the mantra of T.P.O.T, no matter what, despite of the shit I say, because I'm gonna come with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to come with it. But if you go home and you think about it, you're like, you know what? I don't like fucking X's black ass. But now that I think about it, he was telling the truth.
That you're preaching right there. I'm not gonna lie. That heavily does resonate. And I told my team, I said, I can't tell how many times I've been offered to say certain messages or say certain things that don't follow the design of what's for me or what I envision for Black Male Talk or for what I want other brothers or sisters to hear. So you're speaking to my soul when you say that, because a lot of people don't understand, especially my YouTube channel is only 4 months old. This is only 4 months old. And I can tell you from time and time again, when I first started out, I didn't have that many people watching me, but I stuck to my truth as a man, as a black man. I tell that to a lot of people, but I have a lot of conservative friends. I said, listen, before I'm a Republican, before I'm a conservative, I'm a black man first. And you got to understand that I'm speaking from my perspective as a black man. I believe in the black community. I believe in the black family. I believe in a black man being the head of a household. I believe in a black woman. I believe in our children. I put that first on the table before I put anything else. So when I speak that, and I hear other people that of our diaspora come to me and they talk to me about our situation, it rings out deep to me, because I remember you remember how back then, I'm not sure how many of y'all ever went to church. Back then you used to have those old preachers. They didn't say what you wanted them to hear. They would be like, get right or you're going to go to hell. Now, I'm not going to say that we're telling y'all going to hell, but that's not for whatever you to believe in. But I agree 120% what you say, Prophet, because it's back then we used to have those brothers and sisters who had that self-conviction to correct if another brother was down, rather than praise him for doing something foolish. You say, hey, brother, get yourself up. You can make a turnaround. If you saw a sister right there and you know she's being very promiscuous, you say, hey, baby, that ain't how we do it. You can keep your legs closed, and when the right man come around you, you already got your schooling together, you already got your a nice place, you got your car. You know, then if the man, he's showing you some type of investment, he putting time into you, and you feel like, yo, he's worth your time, then you can talk about bearing his children. But we don't do that enough. We're not doing that like we used to. And because now we got away from, I know we talk a lot of black, I can tell you right now, and Prophet probably understand what I'm saying. It's so easy to sell out on YouTube. It is so easy, especially when people start listening to you and they give you donations or they're like boosting your head up. It's very easy to get the likes up if you say what they want you to say. But to say the truth in those nights when people say, man, I know if I say this, I know I'm gonna lose somebody today. But you stay to it and you stay true. That right there, it allows you to sleep well at night. But you say, I did my job. It's up to the people to take it and run with it. And I can respect you for that. I can respect those women when they got on there, the 4 unicorns. I can respect that because those are black women. They had a deep concern for the black community. They weren't talking. I'm not going to say they were talking out of ignorance, but they weren't. Because they talk about their truth and what they see. You speak on what you see as a black man. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people take it as when we say certain stuff because we put emotion into what we're saying because it's our experience. People look at it like we're angry. People look at it like, why are they bitter or something? It's not that we're bitter. It's because I want you to get it. I don't want you to have to suffer. I can understand from you. I look to you like as an older mentor. You're like, young brother, I don't want you to have to go through what I had to go through to get to my success. Same thing for an older black woman talking to a younger black sister, or vice versa. And the thing bad about it is, it's hard. That's why I said, yo, he's gonna have some pretty. There's gonna be a pretty good talk, because when it comes to media, when it comes to family, when it comes to a lot of stuff in our community, a lot of the communication is vastly dissipating and breaking up. Back then, when an older person used to say something of wisdom, to say, yo, I've done that. I've taken the beating, the lashing, the biting, the water hose, all that for you. You don't have to do what I have to do anymore. But you choosing to go back into Egypt. And I think that's what hurts a lot of brothers. Like I said, like my grandma, she was crying. She saw her granddaughter come in there with 4 children, but no man. Each one had a different father. And she's like, baby, you don't have to lay on your back for a man's approval. Now, my cousin thought that she was shaming her. But what the older woman was telling her on her deathbed was, you don't need a man's validation to be a woman. And if a man would tell her to that, he's not trying to say something to look down on her. He's saying, listen, baby, you don't need my validation for you to be a woman, to be prosperous. Just like I don't need a validation of a woman to be a successful black man. I got to see that in myself. I see success in you, brother. Just like you, when you spoke that life into me, you said, Joe, you said, B.M.T, I see your channel. I see you speak truth. That to me lifted me up more than ever today. To have another black man who's doing something with himself, and we as black people, we don't encourage each other enough. We don't do that enough. It's like almost like a sin for us to encourage each other.
Well, when it comes to something like that, I think nowadays, these days and times, we all are, and I've said this before, I believe we're all in our own little bubble. Okay. Right. We're all in our own little bubble. And in that little bubble, you know, we think we got our whole world. You know, we walk around with our freaking iPhone. We don't call people no more. We text them. We got people now who won't even wear a watch. You know, you ask them what time it is, the first thing they do is look at their phone. So, I mean, we are in a world now where it's easy to be convinced that you know everything. And when you live in a world where you have a lot of people, there's always a few people amongst us that think they know everything. But nowadays, the mind state of a lot of our people, technology, internet, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, YouTube even, it has made it so that we have more people than ever walking around thinking they know everything. And when you have an abundance of people who think they know everything, there's always going to be people out of that group who don't pay attention to anything. They don't listen to anything. Those are the most disrespectful people. Those are the people who more likely to do something stupid. So when you have a bunch of people who think they know everything, man, you don't have that wisdom isn't being passed down, because young people aren't listening to old people anymore. They're not listening to older people. They think older people are stupid. They think older people don't know anything. They know everything. Remember, they got the iPhone. Remember, they have the iPhone. They know everything. So that's the world we live in. And it always affects us the most. Okay? Because that type of thinking isn't just, just indicative of black folks. It's that type of thinking across the board. It's what goes on in America, in the world. It's just that whatever strikes this world, whatever strikes America in a negative way, it's going to hurt black folks 7 times fold. Because unfortunately, black folks always suffer more from whatever problems this country has. That's just a fact. Whether it be directly or indirectly, black people always suffer more. So whatever it's doing to other people, it's doing to us 7-fold. So that's why we have a lot of what we have within black society. That's my belief. Now, I could be wrong, but I go by what I see. All right. I go by what I see. And what I see now is it's crazier than it's been right now. It's crazier than it's been. You would think that I guess younguns who was born in like the late 90s, mid 90s, these are the people who are coming up now. Okay, they're coming up now, and they're killing, they're robbing, they're shooting, they're driving up murder numbers. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. There's a reason. So that, I mean, I don't want to get too far off the subject, but my thing is this. People always expect to be, you hear the word uplifting or uplifted or whatever the case may be, right?
Right.
And when people listen to someone like me, they will often say, oh, you know, you need to be uplifting people. You need to be uplifting people. Now, I don't believe that many of us want to be uplifted. I believe that we want to be lied up to.
I like that. I'm taking that.
We want to be lied up to. We don't really want to be uplifted. Many of us. I'm not saying that it's all of us, but many of us, we don't want to be uplifted. So if you got a lot of us walking around wanting to be lied up to, that means there's a lot of us walking around lying, right? That's what that means. A lot of us are walking around lying. So when you got a bunch of people walking around lying and a bunch of people wanting to be lied up to, what do you have? What do you have? You have a bunch of people telling lies and a bunch of people entertaining lies. Society can never operate like that.
Nope.
Never. Can never operate like that. I mean, there's so many different things that's going on within Black society. And I probably won't live to see many of them fixed. But what I can do is, number one, discuss some of this shit, put it in the air, talk to other people, let other people talk about it. Number two, I can practice what I preach. The shit I talk about, I need to live it. All right. And finally, number three, if there's ever a time when you feel like I'm not talking Black stuff enough, or not being Black enough for you, or whatever the case may be, you can easily find my contacts. You can bring your ass on this show and we can go ahead and see if you're telling the truth. So there you have it. So you said you only been on YouTube for what, 4 months, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you, well, I already know the answer to this, but I'll ask you anyway. Have you changed your format since the time you started then and now? Have you changed it? Have you changed what you talk about? Any of that?
No.
Okay.
Because honestly, the first thing I was talking about, and I remember my first show, but they brought it. I wanted to go all the way back to my first show. I'm not sure how many people actually look at their first show they ever did on YouTube, and I looked at it, and I wanted to see if I stayed consistent with myself in talking about it. But I started out with a whole different team. They're not here. It's just me and my wife, and we stuck to what we knew. I said, if we do nothing else, this is Black Male Talk. I want us to be talking about things that deal with our culture, our people, and our community. It should be stuff that's important to us. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to say that I've stuck to that. I've stuck to that faith. And if anybody wants to go check it for themselves, go look at my first episode on my videos all the way up to now. and everything deals with how. And I even spoke on it in the I think last year, but one dude was asking me like, why don't you do videos on how black women be messing up? You know, I said, well, how can I chastise just black women? They're not the only ones in the community. We got black men in there too, don't we? This is black male talk. Yeah, but you know, it's the women's fault. Why? I said, listen, bro, the women can only get away if the men allow them to. If the men step up, the women won't do that. If you got a strong black man, a woman's gonna follow. Well, I don't know about that. I said, because you don't run a household. If you ran a household, you'll see. You gotta understand back then, and I can show you history always, whenever you're in doubt, look at your forefathers for faith. And if you look at how when everything was going rough, one thing that I could say that was consistent back then was the strength of the black family unit. Let me say that again. Throughout slavery, one thing that they understood that they had to do was what? Separate the black family. Let me say that. So what we see now, how they say we're destroying the black family, they were trying that back then in slavery. They would split us apart from your women and the children and the men. They would do that already. But the thing about it was that mother had the instinct to, when she saw a baby crying and she didn't want that baby to be killed, she hushed it, put it to her breast. Even though that wasn't her child, she still let it suck on the breast. She could see a man beaten and whipped to the meat off his flesh. She would still patch him up and keep him going. You know? So the thing about it was the black mindset was, if we stay together, we can get through anything. And though things have came our way, slavery, Jim Crow, you know what I'm saying? The police brutality, drugs of the Poor Man Act. I know some of y'all been through that. I watched my grandma and granddaddy go through it. One thing that was consistent that we fought through was we were together when we did it. But then people say now, well, what happened to the black community? The family started to dissipate. We started saying that we don't need the black woman or we don't need the black man. And when we started saying that, that's when we started falling asunder. Because for me to say I don't need her or she don't need me, that's when we started to fall apart. Because we both needed each other. And now more than ever, how can I tackle a problem outside of my community if I don't have my helpmate, or if I don't have my people having my back?
Well, the thing with black men and black women. Now, I mean, you're on mediator. You're on media. So you know how it is. You know, a lot of brothers that have, you know, these platforms, you know, that's kind of what they specialize in. You know, they specialize in, you know, just going in on women or whatever the case may be. Now, there's always going to be some animus between black men and black women for many, 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 many different reasons. You know, I could list probably 1,000 of them tonight. But ultimately, I believe that black men and black women's biggest problem is black boys and black girls too. I believe one of our biggest problems is lack of education. And when I say education, I'm not talking about schools or universities or colleges. I'm not talking about any of that. What I'm talking about is when I say educated, and those of you who follow the Prophet of Thought series know what I'm about to say. When I say educated, what I mean is you have gone from unaware to aware of your own ignorance about people, places, things, life, and yourself. And once you become aware, you go from unaware to aware of your own ignorance about those things. Now you are educated, because now that you are aware of your own ignorance, what are you going to do? You're going to seek knowledge. You're going to seek counsel. You're going to seek guidance. Only people who are aware of their ignorance seek knowledge, seek wisdom, seek counsel, seek instruction. people who don't have any awareness of their ignorance are never going to do that, whether they go to college or not. Because there's a lot of people that I know who have been to some colleges and have some degrees. Okay. But boy, they are just as uneducated as you want to be. They're schooled. Yeah, they're very schooled. Yeah. Their degrees look good on their wall, but hey, they're still not educated. They're just schooled.
I agree.
That's it. They're schooled. So what do you believe are some of the biggest challenges with Black society in a whole? What do you think some of the biggest challenges besides we know family? Okay, there's been a decline in family that's been going on for at least 5, 6, 7 decades. It's been a disintegration of the family. The Black family pretty much doesn't even exist at all now. You know, I mean, there's a very small percentages of the so-called family when you're talking about Black folks. I guess that's why we always walking around saying, "What's up, family? Peace, family." You know, I guess that's why we always do that, because see, a lot of us don't really have a real one. So we walk around and we family everybody. Who is this dude up here, man? See, this is why I don't like paying attention to the chat room. My eyes always catch some old BS. Now, you're married, right?
Yes.
You're a married guy. So you understand, obviously, if you're a married guy, because I'm married too. Married guys kind of have a good understanding of the dynamics between men and women. That's why our asses are married and we stay married, because we kind of understand those dynamics.
Yeah.
I believe that there's a lot of brothers out there who don't understand the dynamics between men and women. That's why they're very unsuccessful with finding decent women. And when I talk about dynamics, I don't just mean, you know, the way you work, what you drive, where she work, what she drive, what she do. I'm not talking about that. Okay, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about the dynamics between a man and a woman. Brothers who have understanding of that aren't on media talking about, "Oh man, there are no good women out there." I mean, they're not saying that.
You're not a man who's had his time tested in the sand. You know, I can proudly say I've been married and I've been with the same woman for over 10 years. There's not a lot of Black men that could say that nowadays, and that's a test of time. You know, I ain't gonna say I was always the best, but damn it, she put up with me and she kept me on the right track. So one of the things, and I agree with you, you won't get a married Black man to be on social media bickering about women. It's because that would go against his whole moral code of being a married man. It wouldn't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, when I see a brother on here and he's talking about, oh, all black women do this, all Black women do that, I'm like, did you find the right one? That's what I usually answer. That's my first question I ask him. Did you find the right one? What type of women are you entertaining? What are you doing with yourself? If you entertain the devil, you get poked with horns. See, that's how it goes. You want to go to the strip club and see that girl, she's showing her behind to the world. Well, guess what? You ain't the only one that's watching. Now, the question you ask is, what other issues that we're having in the Black community other than just family? Quite a lot of problems we got going on. When it comes to the market, we don't control our own buyer's market. We do not. Black people, I'm sorry. We spend the most money. We consume. You'll find us all up in every store. You'll find us advertising and entertaining different brands, but we don't own a major brand. We do not. It's sad to say that we've been in the U.S. for this long, and yet how many major banks do we have out there? You know, that's a very bad thing. We're one of the biggest. We're the biggest face. When you look at the NFL, you can call out off the top of your head probably 20 successful black players, but how many owners are there? That's crazy. You saying that we know how to play the game, but we don't know how to manage and run a team? How many black hospitals? We don't have any black hospitals. You see, the things that we need for everyday survival, we don't be running. You know, I remember that thing. I remember the incident that happened with the woman at Walmart that said that the way how they locked up the stuff, she said she don't want to shop at Walmart.
Yes.
And then I remember there was a white woman said, well, why don't you go shop somewhere else? I said, well, damn. If we had a black store, then that would be no problem. She could probably just go to the black store. But see, that's the thing about it. We do not support each other's business. I say time and time again, if you see a black business, whether you agree with the price or not, support him or support her. I know a lady, she drives around in a Hyundai. She sells rice and fish and string beans. I give my money to her before I go to KFC. I'll give it to her. And you know what she told me she was going to do? She said, Joe, I'm planning on buying a van that I can cook out of. I said, go ahead and do that. But we have to start investing in each other's occupational business. Another thing that we fail at is I know it's something that we can do. We can start making our own schools. We did it back then and it was a worse of time. But now, are we getting the education and learning the lessons just like you speaking of, like we're forgetting about our past? We're not learning the educational values that we uphold and we go by. And that's a problem because who's teaching it? Are we in control? Are we teaching the same values and codes that you teach your children at home? Is that being instructed in school? You know, I ain't gonna lie. My daughter came to me and she's 4 years old and she went to school and she said, Daddy, what's a transgender? I'm like, what? She says, little Billy came in the bathroom with me, but you know, the teacher said it's okay. I said, nope. I pulled my kids out of school that same week. But I can't get mad because I don't control the education that my kids intake. And that's a problem because if you're not in control of your own, if you can't control that, then they can teach you anything. Or they can put anything into your generation. That's why I try to tell a lot of parents, go to the school and sit in that classroom. See what your children are learning. You'll be surprised what you might see. The next thing I also want to go about is the media. The representation of us in the media. And Lord knows we see how it is in the media. But I see more love and hip hop, Black Ink, Desperate Housewives. You know, I like me and my wife like watching Empire. But in everything that we watch, it always puts a negative connotation on the black family. What happened to the Huxtables? What happened to the Winslows? What happened to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Back then, we used to have full functioning family sitcom unit TV. I know you remember that. You remember that, Prophet. But now, whenever they show us, it's always a single mother, a baby daddy, some hustler. One of us do dope, one of us does crack, one of us is gay. And, you know, I mean, it's like we can't function unless we're in chaos. And I'm like, so that, go ahead, brother. I know you wanted to say something.
Well, think about it. These people, you know, mostly white folks.
Yep.
Who create these shows that we see now, who make all this money from these shows. All they're doing is giving. This is what many of us want. Because if it wasn't what many of us want, it wouldn't be so prolific. Many of us want to see Love and Hip Hop and Black Ink and Real Housewives from here, there, and every damn where. Many of us, this is what we want to see, not because we are looking to be inspired or enlightened. We're looking at it simply to be entertained. That is the thing. We many of us as a people, we would prefer entertainment to enlightenment. Most of us, a lot of us, I really think most of us. So these things entertain us. These things kind of let us live vicariously through these so-called characters that are on our TV screens. And we have this we often have this twisted view of our own selves. So we always have a tendency to project those twisted views onto other things that we see in front of us, whether it be something on television or something in the movies or people who are standing right in front of us. So that's kind of how we fall into that gap where everybody wants to they want to see this bullshit, because if this stuff wasn't popular, it wouldn't still be on TV. All right, it'd be, because a TV show will disappear like that. If they in 5 and if they in season 5 and season 8 and all that, Black folks love it. Black folks support it. This is what Black folks want. So we can't even get mad about the negative images that's on TV, because guess what? Black people want to see these negative images. That's why they support it. That's why they watch it. This is what they want to see. It's not media. This is where I have my problem with people when they think media. People like me who are on the internet and the radio and crap like that. We are the people who need to change. Yeah, we need to change how we talk. We need to change how we express ourselves. We need to talk differently. But no one ever talks about the changing of Black folks' minds. No one ever talks about that, because a lot of us, all we need to start doing is changing our damn minds. We first need to open them and then change them. Because for shit to change, man, for your behavior to change, for your life to change, the first thing that has to change, man, is your thinking.
I agree.
Okay?
I 100% agree with you on that one.
You can't think poverty, man, and end up rich. I mean, it's just not gonna happen.
No. And that happens a lot because I have my own company, and I successfully been running my own company for 6 years. And they said, Joe, well, who put you on? I said, well, nobody put me on. I mean, if it came to knowledge, I studied it for myself, but I had to open myself up to new experiences and new things if I want to become successful. That any successful business person will tell you that you got to be open to a new thinking process. And that's something that is starting to escape the Black individual now, because when you start thinking differently and start challenging the grain, that becomes dangerous. One of the things that they understood for the Black man is, if I can keep him from reading, because if you read, you can think. If you can think, you can process. If you can process, you can develop. If you can develop, you can create. And for that fact that they understood that, see, that's one thing. That's why one of the things, and I learned this from an older Black man. They thought he was a drunk. They said, you want to know why we call a Black person who's educated a white boy? Because we don't see ourselves as educated. And the undermined white folks who didn't think like that, they would tell the Black people, see, look at him. He thinks he's a white boy. And instead of encouraging that brother, we began to shame him, as if being knowledgeable and gaining knowledge was a bad thing. And I find that's very disheartening. But I remember I had my time, I've been called white boy because I read or I spoke differently when I just wanted to learn something more. I used to have brothers who would come out of incarceration, and you would think they had doctor's degrees. I was like, well, hold up, bro. Where'd you learn how to weld like that? You didn't go to school. You just got out like 3 months ago. Brother, I had nothing but time to read. I said, you learned all that in a book? He said, I mean, what did they say? If you want to keep something from a Negro, put it in a book. And the thing about it is, we depend on too much on what others and what social media puts out there and brands on us, rather than to just go seek it and study it for ourselves. I mean, it's out there. I mean, one of the things I learned, if I learned anything when I started branching out, is listen, Like I remember I read one of your comments. They were saying speak on the laws. Well, I say, well, guess what? If we want laws to change, I would tell black people, listen, how hard would it be if me, you, and a few other people, we came together, we wrote a bill, and we got it signed by everybody in the black community. We took it before the board and said, listen, this is the bill. We put the money up. We invested in this. We want this to happen in our town. Well, we need signatures. Guess what? We got 500 signatures. We got all we needed. So guess what? You got to make it happen. Because this is what we want. See, but the thing about it is we do not congregate together like that. We can do that for a church. We can do that for a movie. We can do that for a show, a CD. But the things that we need that matter, especially like when it comes to stuff that impact us and inflict harm upon us, we do not invest in. I tried to tell one brother, he said, man, I'm tired of the police officers harassing my daddy. I said, why don't you go be a cop? And you police your own neighborhood. 4 years later, this brother's a cop, walking his own street. But see, he changed his mind, his way of thinking, and said, listen, I'm now, instead of me being fearful of the law, I am the law. I am part of the law. I can help discern. And I encourage a lot of people, brothers and sisters, listen, we got to start changing up the way on how our probability of thinking on how we attack things. We can pull out a camera and we always view this person doing it, but we got to start being the ones out there. I mean, back then we used to have brothers and sisters out there on the corner educating and teaching everybody, yo, we got to change our thinking on how we do things. Instead of us just listening and being victimization, that was something that was going on back then in the civil rights movement. That's one thing that the Panthers were teaching people. They were saying, listen, man, we can educate ourselves if y'all willing to. But now we got lazy. We got more dependent on everybody else. The white man is no longer really worried about us like that anymore because right now he's dealing now with the African. The African's coming over here. And he understands that if you want to, if you want to beat the system, you got to learn how to integrate into the system and change it for you. That's something I learned time and time again. I'm ex-military, and I've seen it for myself. You want the laws to change? It's not who gets out there and marches the most. Because one thing Dr. King showed us when they did it in down there in Mississippi. One thing, if you want to hurt the man, hurt his wallet. Take the money out the man and say, listen, I won't deal with you until you start changing some laws up. You don't get my money. You see, that's when they started making differences. You know, see, one thing, you know why they got so mad at Kaepernick? He could have, if he would have took a knee and it didn't affect their dollar, they wouldn't have cared. But when he started doing something, taking a knee, and we can't say what the brother was saying was wrong. But the thing about it was when he started hurting their wallet. But the only problem about it was if the black athletes were serious about him and what he was saying, none of them would have played. They said, listen, we'll get behind this brother. Just like they did for Muhammad Ali. When Muhammad Ali got jailed, who kept his family afloat? It was black people. They said, brother, until you get out, we're going to keep you afloat. They saw solidarity. They saw unification in that. But we don't do that whenever we want to educate and push each other's agenda. And because we don't, that's why other agendas, the Jews, the Hispanics, the Chinese, now even the illegal immigrant, now they're getting more laws passed than black people. Go ahead, Prophet. I didn't mean to get fired up like that.
I don't think, my guests, they're allowed to say whatever they want to say. I don't censor my guests. Well, I say this often, okay, about us. And, you know, my ass too. I say us because my ass included in it too. I say that other groups of people are more monolithic. And even if they're not monolithic about everything, they're monolithic about the things that count. That's why they can become a collective and do the shit that they do.
Right. We
as black people, and I go back to talking about that bubble, because you often hear people say, oh, black people aren't a monolith. Black people aren't monolithic. You know, you hear that shit all the time, you know, on TV and media, and, you know, the famous people who are way more famous than us, but don't talk about the black folk shit we talk about. They're like, oh, black people aren't a monolith, you know. Maybe That's the damn problem. That black people aren't a monolith because, see, Asians are, white folks definitely are,
Right.
Hispanics definitely are, and they've got more money than us. So maybe we should be a monolith about the things that count.
Yes.
We should be we should be monolithic on those things, on those accords. Even if we different about all the other shit, the things that count, we need to be a monolith.
Yes.
Especially the shit that's going towards bettering black society. If it's stuff that's bettering black society, we damn well need to be monolithic on those things. But
Yes.
we're not. But we're not. And people make it a point of mentioning that when they talk about it.
Prophet, why do you think they like throwing that in our face that we're not monolithic?
They like
you see them they do that on the news all the time to us.
Of course. We don't have a collective thought about the shit that counts, man. That's why we don't have our own things anymore. That's why we don't have any Black Wall Streets or anything like that anymore. I mean, no. The closest thing even remotely to it is freaking Atlanta, Georgia. You know?
We're losing that too.
Yeah, that's falling apart too. That's going to be gentrified at some point. Yeah, we don't have that, especially when it comes to finances. We're definitely not a collective when it comes to finances, because a lot of us is just poor and broke. Then there's some of us who have, we do okay for ourselves, but we still living paycheck to paycheck. There's those of us who are upper middle class, and then there's those of us who are rich, wealthy, but definitely not a lot. Considering how many black people there are in this country, there's not a lot of wealthy millionaire black people. Okay, you can probably count them pretty easily. But it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if black people were somewhat more synchronized and monolithic. There's that word again. As far as finances went, like if we had our own banks, if we had a system that allowed black people to borrow money, to buy their own house, of course, black schools, black everything. I mean, black schools, black hospitals, all black fire department, that kind of stuff. If we thought more financially, if we were more synchronized financially, we would have all that stuff. You would see, just like you go and you see a little Italy in New York City or Chinatown in New York City, you would see, little Africa. You would see Negro Town. You would see that if we were monolithic, because not for nothing, we would at least be able to cut out our own little space in this country. What little space we can, at least we'd be able to do that. And I don't think we've done that. We haven't done that for quite some time.
You ever there was a movie that came out a while back. It was shout out to Taraji P. I think she's gonna be getting married soon. So I don't know why I said that. But she did a movie called Hidden Figures. And I remember that was a movie where she was that black woman who worked at NASA. And the movie was based on the woman who came from a poor background. And the black people, I remember the school, because mind you, back then, all black kids, we all got taught in the same classroom. It didn't matter what your age, we all got taught in the same classroom. And the school and people in the community, they saw something in her. And they said, she's too smart to be here. And they put enough money together. I remember that part. They put enough money for her mama and her daddy to put her into a better school. Mind you, this is a poor community. But see, that was the monolithic moment right there. They invested the community, and that's a problem that we do not do. The Jews would make their children study to become lawyers and doctors in certain positions. They don't. I see a lot of videos. With a lot of black fathers, and I'm proud to see that, where I see a lot of black fathers having their sons up early in the morning, running laps and doing drills and stuff to get into the NFL. I see a lot of parents training their kids up to be the next best dancer or entertainer. But I would love to see videos where you have your child up early in the morning, because though you have to work at Target or Walmart, or maybe you got to go clean the school bathroom, but your son is up early in the morning in a book, studying on how to become a doctor. I would love to see us to be able to go to an all-black law firm whenever we have a case of some type of injustice, but we can't do that because we think that we got to be the next hottest entertainer, social media, or something like that. I would love to be able, if I had a problem, I could go to a black hospital. You know, these are things that I agree with you say, Prophet. Our focus on where we direct our attention to, or what we need to focus on, it's not there. I've seen all Jewish hospitals. I've seen Asian community outlets. Not to say we don't got enough black community resources thing for kids to go play and hang out. But what about things to re-educate and teach them how to go above and beyond? And I don't think we should have to always keep going to the system for help. I don't agree with that. I tell any black man or woman, if we can go without the system, I understand it's not easy. I understand we will suffer it out at first. That you got to suffer out. We have to be like the Egyptians. We have to be like the Israelites. You got to walk your 40 years in the wilderness before you get to your promised land. Now, the first generation of blacks, they did that. They took their lashes so that way we can get to this point. But now it's our turn to walk through our wilderness. And sad to say, just like you were saying, Prophet, some blacks, they don't want that. They don't want that type of wake up. They're fine taking the paycheck and being told it's okay, you did good. We're not in that timeline anymore. You made it. You're free. But are you really free to make those type of choices like your forefathers wanted you to make? Go ahead, Prophet. I know you want to say something.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
You know, and that's something that I try to tell a lot of brothers. I stay on my children, and I'm hard on them when they bring home a B or a C. And I remember one time the teacher came to me, and she said, the white teacher asked me, she said, Mr. Johnson, your son did good. He made a B+. I said, B+ ain't good enough. It's not good enough for my home. I pulled my son aside because he was crying. He said, Daddy, why are you so hard on me? I said, son, I'm hard on you because I want you to make it. I said, I want you to understand that society is not going to give you no easy way out. It didn't give me one. I said, what? I shouldn't have to listen. I don't want you to have to go to have the military as your only option. I want you to be able to say, you know what? I made good enough. I can go into law school. I can go to medical school. I can start my own medical practice. We need men and women out there making those strides for us. We can't say it can't be done because we did it before. And I understand that there have been roadblocks like Rosewood and Black Wall Street, Oklahoma. I know there's been times where they have genocided us and wiped out profitable black men and women. I do understand that, but when that tells me that they're doing that to us, that means they're afraid that we can make a come up. Because anything that blacks have done, oh yes, baby, we made a come up. Anything that we touch, we come out on top. But the problem is when they start, when they teach us to become docile, and a lot of us have become docile, that's the problem. Because we accept the bare minimum to be treated as human beings or as people. But I can tell you right now, whenever I see my Indian or Asian counterparts, they don't accept the bare minimum. They have their kids inside the store with them, teaching them, listen, when I get old, I'm not going to be able to run this business. So you need to learn how to run this, Lee Chang. When I get old, I can't run this hotel. You're going to have to run this hotel. But what are we teaching? I told my friend, I said, listen, man, I know how to do sheetrock. You know how to fix ACs. Next time you need me for a job, bring your son along, and I'll bring my boys. And we'll start teaching our trades to them. You remember how it was whenever we had the older ones, and the older people would grab you along and say, come on out here and help me with this car. And they'll start talking to us and start telling us stuff. You know what I'm saying? My mom started teaching me how to cook. My daddy started teaching me stuff on how to work a lawnmower or a car, so that way I didn't have to go to another man to fix my own stuff. But see, those little tips and tricks, we're not doing that. We're not passing on the knowledge and education that we accumulated. And that's one of the saddest things that we're having in the Black community. And I say that with passion. I'm holding back my tears because I know it's true that there's going to be a point where once we're gone, that's one thing that falls back in a Black man or Black woman's mindset. Who is going to watch over the next generation when we're gone? But at the rate that is going for the Black man or woman, especially for the marital ones or the ones who are trying to hold down a family, we know that's it. I wrote a paper in college like the modern Black family man won't exist in 2050. They thought they were laughing at me. But you know what? That Black girl who was sitting in that classroom, she wasn't laughing because she knew that was true. Because we know that we're close to becoming extinct. Back then, we died to get education. Nowadays, for us to educate ourselves, and it's free, we don't care. We have scholarships. We have different things that can set up. Even if you're poor, if you're hungry enough, you'll want it. But nowadays, I see is where we're just fine with just being the bare minimum of being the laughter. Hey, guess what? No man in sight. It's okay, girl. Don't worry about that. The system will take care of your children. First of all, to be in the system only allows you to make a certain amount of money for you to stay in the system. I tell that to anybody. Listen, do not settle with the system, but the system doesn't want you to come up.
It's a trap.
Yes.
A trap. And it handicaps you because it keeps you at a certain level. You know, it handicaps you. That's all it is to that. I mean, it will handicap you. You know, now don't get me wrong. I know, some people, they need it,
yeah.
But, when it becomes a lifetime thing, if that's your whole life, I mean, your problems is bigger than just the system. If you've been on it your whole life, I mean, that's quite depressing, actually. You've been on it your whole life. That's depressing. But well, oftentimes, man, when you talk about the things that go on within Black society, and I'm a true believer that we definitely got to focus on the young,
yes.
Because unfortunately, and I say this a lot, and people get mad at me when I say this shit too, but I don't care. A lot of us are just, when the ship leaves the dock, they're just not going to be on it. Yeah, many of us aren't going to be on it. We just know that, okay? Why? Some of them for the simple reason that they just don't want to go. So that alone is going to make it so some people we cannot save. But I'm a true believer that the young have a chance if they are taught and groomed and counseled and guided, trained even. I believe that they can be sent out into the world educated with understanding about life, knowing how to read, write, count. That would be nice as well. So, I believe, I'm a true believer that we need to invest in the young because, see, we can teach them. Okay, then we can save. It's hard to save somebody that's 45. If they 45 and they lost, they're probably going to be lost when they get 65. But someone who's 4 or 5, They can be taught, man. They could be trained. And I say this all the time. Frederick Douglass said what? He said it's easier to raise strong children than it is to repair broken men. So we need to get focused on the old raising the strong children part. We need to get right at that yesterday, last week, last year, a decade ago. We need to get right at that. That's at the heart of it. So 10, 15, 20 years from now, maybe shit will be different because they'll be the adults and they'll have a stake in the economy, politics, whether or not we have an abundance of families and marriages and children who actually have a father. They are going to be the ones because it's too late for us.
Right.
Too late for us. Wherever we are, we are. But the children, it's different with children. Children can be trained, guided, raised strong. So that's where I think we need to start. I mean, of course, there's some older minds that could possibly be changed, I'm sure. But we can only focus on the people who want to be part of whatever it is. It's just like I spoke about this last week with a member of my team. And I said, if your city was sinking and there was a big boat out there and they said, everybody get on it before the city sinks. Now, you can grab your 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old and drag them and say, come on, bring your ass up on this ship because the city is sinking. Now, you may not be able to get 80-year-old grandma down the hall to go. Granny may want to ride it out.
Yep.
You can't make her go. But everybody in there with children are going to be able to make their children go, right?
Right.
They're going to be able to put their children on that ship. And when I say what I say, I mean it in that context because a lot of people, they don't want to get on the boat. They want to ride it out. They want to see what happens. You understand? They're cool with what's going on right now. So when we talk about bringing people into the fold, when we talk about collective thinking of Black folks, man, who we're really talking about, we're talking about children and freaking adults who are interested. That's who we're talking about. We're not talking about the people who have no interest in rebuilding anything, have no interest in informing Black people about shit. I mean, they just have no interest whatsoever. When we get on these platforms, man, and we talk the shit we talk, we're not talking to those people.
Right.
We're not talking to those people, man, because those people aren't listening. Those people don't give a shit. They don't want to be part of anything. They don't want to get on the ship.
I agree. I remember this older gentleman. He said, "Joe, some would it be if I told you that some Blacks want to watch the Black community burn? Would you believe me?" I said, "Granddaddy, why would a Black man want to watch his own home burn?" He was like, "Because it's just that's how it is, son." He said, you would have some Blacks who wanted to be free. You have one Black who liked being on the plantation. And to stay on the plantation, he would keep everybody else on the plantation with him. And I was like, what? So you would say he would want to stay on the plantation? Why would he want to be in bondage? Because that's all he knows. And that's all he chooses to live by. And in saying that stayed with me because I see it as some people, like, just like you were saying, are just like that elderly person. They lived in that type of situation for so long to hear that there's a way out or that there's a better way, but we got to make some changes or we got to sacrifice the city to go on. They don't want to hear that. You know, and for some of us who are doing what we need to do, you know, I agree with you 100%, Prophet, that everybody can't accept this type of message that you're talking about. Everybody's not going to want to listen to it. They're going to see it as you're bashing or you're talking down on the black community. No. Understand this. I tell this anything better. Jesus was trying to tell the Jews on how they could live without always having to give money to the church. Just treat your fellow man with respect. They put him to death. Now, the Romans didn't put him to death. Actually, the Romans didn't even care for what he was doing. But his own put him down because he was saying something that went against their system and their way of thinking. That's something I just want to tell some of y'all who, and I'm a Christian too, so it's okay. I can throw that salt out on us. But that was one of the biggest examples that you will catch more flack against your own, even if it is a well-intended lesson. Versus them, but some people rather live blind. Some people rather be blind than hear the truth. And I learned that on YouTube. I caught more negative insight from people, and you got to be careful who you entertain. I remember one time, I had one guy said, "Hey Joe, why don't you?" It was a conservative. It was from the NRA. They said, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, on your channel, you want to talk about how blacks, they joined the NRA?" I said, no. He said, why not? I mean, they helped y'all out in slavery. When? I ain't see y'all in the book. When y'all came in? Were y'all shooting at me with the hoods on, or were y'all wearing the coats and cutting off our feet? Like, when did y'all come in? Well, we always help. You was helping the Black Panthers. I'm like, no, you weren't. My daddy was a Black Panther. He never saw y'all. So I'm trying to figure out. So try that again. I talked to the originals, and the originals, they weren't even fighting like that. They were helping the sick with medicine. Because black people back then, I know something hard for us to believe, you didn't get medical insurance like the white man did. You didn't get the same housing and care like a white person did. You got the bare minimum. If you stayed in subsidized housing, oh, believe me, if they caught a black man in that house, oh, you all could be kicked out. So where's the fairness? I mean, you got to remind you, they just now passed the Housing Act, which kept a lot of black people from getting houses. You could have the money and the bank still wouldn't accept you. So you gotta understand like that, and this is for me, and I'm a conservative black. So I don't coon for nobody. I ain't gonna sample and dance the dance for nobody. I'm gonna speak the gospel truth and only but the truth. And that was the thing, and that's the bad promiscuity of a lot of stuff. Like I said, they said, well, we're going to take away your subscribers. I lost 200 subscribers, but I refused to say what they wanted me to say. I stuck to it. I stuck to my truth. Now I gained more subscribers, but I didn't. I just did a story not too long ago. Just a while back. I think like just yesterday. It was about a black man in Cheesecake Factory. And what he was doing was he was wearing a MAGA hat. Now, for whatever reason, the brother wanted to wear that hat, that was on him. I don't believe in that hat. I ain't never knew a time where it was good for a black man in America. If y'all can find it, please send it to me. Show it to me. Prophet, I'm not sure if you knew a good time when it was good for blacks in America. I don't know.
I'm not aware.
I'm not aware. That's why I said when they say, hey, y'all remember the good times for when we all were. No, when, bro? When? But he wore the hat. Now, the thing that hurt me and broke my heart, that was the inconsistency, was not too long ago, y'all, we jumped on with the Starbucks incident. We jumped on that when the brothers got kicked out of Starbucks. But then we turn around at the Cheesecake Factory in the same hazing that we were mad about that happened to those two black boys. We do it even worse to that black man on Mother's Day, to him, his girl, and her family. They hazed. Now, mind you, the black brothers, they didn't even pay for anything at Starbucks. These people at Cheesecake Factory paid for a full meal on Mother's Day. They harassed the girl all the way to the bathroom, had her coming back crying. God knows what they did to her. Harassed the mother and the husband, threatened to punch him in his head. But when we do things like this to each other, it's hard to get other people to want to respect us, because then they look at us like, okay, so y'all want us to pay these guys, but then y'all do this to your own people. It's just like whenever we talk about police brutality, but what do they always like throwing in our face? Well, don't y'all be shooting each other? They do it all the time. And I'm like, damn. But I'm talking about police brutality. Why are you throwing about black people shooting black people? That's a two different topics. Like, I get that. I know black people shoot each other. I know I'm more likely to be shot by a black man.
Well, I believe that the reason why that's always brought up, because see, they want us to see it as it being all right, because see, we shoot each other. Mm-hmm. So being that the cops shoot you guys, you should be all right with it.
Right.
Because you guys shoot each other. So you should be all right with the fact of cops shooting you because you guys shoot each other. You know, so I mean, I think that's how they look at it.
That's on some bullshit.
Yeah, I've always thought that way. And don't get me wrong, I've had my issues with it too. I've talked about it. But I think that a lot of white folks, they bring that talking point up because they want it to seem like they're not doing much to us that we're not already doing to ourselves. I think that's kind of where they're coming from, which is bullshit, of course. But
yes,
that's what I think when I hear that kind of shit coming from white folks. Now, when you hear it from black people, depending on what context they're talking about it in, you know, that's different. But when you hear it from white folks, I've always believed, and I could be wrong, I've always believed that's why they said it. So
no, I agree with you. And like I said, I mean, let me tell this to any of y'all. Like, the same BS that people say is on the Democratic side, it's on the Republican side also. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, like, they both got their side, they both feels of bullshit. I go over to the Republican side, look at them, and they say, well, Joe, why'd you Republican? Oh, you saw the truth? What truth? Y'all speaking your own damn truth. That ain't mine. I'm a conservative because I lived in a Democratic community and I didn't see no change. I lived on a couch. I slept in a car. I know what it's like to have to go in the dumpster to feed me and my friend. I've been homeless. I've stood my test of time. You know. Now I said I made changes for my own beliefs, but I do know there's some good men and women who are Democratic. But I say this enough: the representation of black people in politics is it's not there. We don't have nobody speaking for me or your behalf, especially on the stuff that we believe in, or the stuff that we want spoken on. And that's a sad thing. Hell, we got more people to speak more on, gay rights than they do on stuff going on with black people. And half the time we get the people who do go up there and speak for black people, oh my God, why they let that Negro up in office? Like, come on, bro. Do we not have anybody else who can represent us? I really be saying that most of the time. Like, yo, bro, there's no way you're talking for me. Like, I feel like y'all could have just took my text, my phone call. And I mean, that's the stuff that we be pointing out. And I know a lot of people say we're bickering and bitter. Just like I told a lot of I did a talk about it, and I was going to tackle that later. I said there should be no black person for illegal immigration. And some people said, Joe, why are you saying that? Like, at one time you were an illegal immigrant. I'm like, Negro, are you crazy? Do you not understand? When was me as a slave an illegal immigrant? I wasn't even viewed as property. I was just viewed as property. I wasn't even viewed as a human being. I didn't know no slave that was voting to be a slave or trying to come over to the U.S. Hey, sign me up for the next slave ship. But that's that very disingenuous talk. So I like, yo, be careful. That's why Malcolm X says, like, yo, be careful of the wolf. When y'all start letting them in on your talking points on your platform, and they start taking over, Malcolm X said it. You remember? He won. I don't know. Malcolm X must have been Nostradamus, but he was talking about this way before it got too bad. Here's the thing, and the thing about it, they wanted to silence him, but they couldn't find no dirt on him. They every time they checked on his hotel, they saw he would go in there, talk to his family, and keep to himself. So, I mean, he was honestly telling you, if you're not in control of your own platform or your own talking points, I mean, look at to show you a straightforward reference. When Colin Kaepernick was doing it, and a few of those other black guys were taking a knee, that was one thing. It was a black thing, and I didn't support it, but I got what he was doing for black people. But then all of a sudden, you start seeing all the white people doing it now. Then they started doing all kind of crazy shit. And you're like, what the hell is this? Like, what? Hold up, bro. Like, are you sure this is for black people now? Like, now we hear it was just like Black Lives Matter, then All Lives Matter, then Blue Lives Matter, then Chinese Lives Matter. You're like, yo, bro, I don't even see the message anymore. After a while, guess what happened? It died out. Because we got to stop letting other people in on what we're trying to do. I try to tell this to a lot of black people. If we start something, we got to be the ones and the only ones to start it, see it through, and then finish it. I know it sounds like, yo, Joe, I think you're racist. No, I'm not being racist. I'm telling you valid facts. When the agents do something, you don't hear about it until they're done. When the Arabs start a business, you don't see nobody in that business running it until it's fully functioning, but just them. You want to go look at Dearborn, Minnesota. The Islamics up there, they run the whole city. They run the whole city now. Not nobody else runs that city but them. They're on the council, the police department. They're on everything. Why? Because they said, listen, we can't have any other element inside of our establishment. And that's the thing about it. We got to have the mindset as black people. If we're going to do something or start something, we got to see it through with just us. That's why when I saw on your feed, they say, hey, like and share and support the video. I did that because we need to learn how to start supporting and spreading the word of each other. Because if we can't support each other, how can we get support?
Yeah, well, I agree. I agree. I mean, you go through my archives, man. I'm hooked up with a lot of people. I mean, I'm probably one of the most underrated YouTubers on this spectrum. I mean, I'm aligned with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people. You go through my archives, you see the people who have come on my show, the people who I'm aligned with, and you know, I'm still low key. I mean, I don't, you know. It ain't a whole bunch of hoopla here. It's just the facts and the straight shit here. But like I said, I'm aligned with a lot of people, man, and I network with a lot of people, and I support many people. I support many people's platforms. I guess that's why I get the support that I get.
Mm-hmm.
On this media stuff, man, you know that you know that often, you know, we find ourselves judged, you know, by the company we keep and shit like that. So, like we spoke of before, you can't have everybody on your platform. That's why I told you that, you know, I went and watched your stuff, and you said that people told you not to come on here, right? People told you not to come. They told you. But that alone, why would someone tell you not to come on another man's platform? Why would somebody say that? Because they're automatically prejudging. Because I believe that us black folks, we some of the most prejudiced people on this planet anyway, especially when it comes to fucking each other.
Oh, yeah, man, I can't believe you said that, Prophet. Yeah. You know they don't like us when we say they say we can't be prejudiced. Black people can't be prejudiced.
We're prejudiced against each other. We're not prejudiced against white people or Hispanic people or Asian people. We are prejudiced against each other. That's where the nucleus of black folks' prejudice lies, is with each other. If it ain't skin tone, it's class, it's money, it's hair, it's access, it's whatever. It's stardom, it's fame, it's internet fame. I mean, we have all kind of prejudices, man. Of course, we're prejudiced. We're some of the most prejudiced fucking people on the planet, and the prejudice is always focused at each other. It's not even focused on other people.
Right.
Not focused on other people. It's focused on each other, man. Should we have prejudices in our own families, man? Where freaking your light-skinned grandmama don't like the dark-skinned grandchild, and also kind of nonsense. Come on, man. That's not prejudice. That's not colorism. What would you call it? What would you call it? And see, when we talk about stuff like that, I think this is the stuff that bothers black people most. When you talk about the shit, okay, the shit that augments black society, the shit that black society could do without, because that's what I do a lot of talk, the shit that we could do without.
Right.
A lot of the shit we can do without, and we'd be a lot better off. We'd be a stronger people. But see, we are so focused on the infinitesimal shit that goes on in our lives that we can never kind of look at the bigger shit. I think that's a problem with many of us too. You know, we're so focused on the little shit that we don't focus on the big things that matter. We don't focus on building. We don't focus on finance. We don't focus on charting out our life, trying to write our own destiny, learn as much as we can, take in as much as we can, read as much as we can. You know, we are never getting caught with an abundance of that. That's why we're so surprised when someone makes it out of the ghetto and go to college and become somebody we applaud. Why? Because it don't happen that often. It don't happen often enough. It's not normal. It's abnormal. We see it as abnormal. So we as a people, man, I mean, there's so many things. There's so many different things that need to take place within black society. And I can't say this enough, but I think we need to focus on the young. I think the adults need to focus on the young. I think the people who got kids now, no matter what your station in life is, if you're responsible for children, that means you're responsible for how they grow up. You're responsible for how they learn. You're responsible for preparing them to be better people than our asses are. You're responsible for that if you have children. So that's a big thing with me. I think that because ultimately, and I'll say this again, they're going to inherit this. They're going to inherit whatever mess that's left. So we damn well better be teaching them how to circumnavigate their way through it. Right. And maybe they can change it somewhere along the line down the road. Now you say that because I know you make a lot of videos. I mean, you got a lot of material up there. See me, I'm on twice a week. I'm on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I have my pre-recorded content, but I actually don't make a lot of content. If I put up 3 videos a week, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot for me. You know, because I run my own business too. I own a power mechanic shop, and this is like my busy season. So I mean, I'm nowhere near on media as much as I normally would be. But I'm a true believer in skills. I believe children should be learning skills, social skills, civil skills, but also hand skills. I believe that we should be getting, instead of trying to force all our children to go to college, I think we should be teaching some of them to be tradesmen, like electricians, carpenters, plumbers, roofers, builders, masons. I think that we need more black folks coming into those fields as well, because I don't believe that everybody needs to go to college. We were taught that. Oh, everybody needs to go to college. I don't believe that that's true. I believe we need more tradesmen. We need more builders. We need more, people, blue collar people. because not only would it be a good thing for young black folks to know these things, guess what? Those jobs pay really good too.
Very well.
All right. You could make good money, because the guys that work for me, they make decent money.
Uh-huh.
They work for me, they make decent money. So I mean, it's you're not going to get rich being an electrician, but guess what else you won't be? Homeless. Yeah, you won't be homeless either. You may not be rich, but you won't be homeless if you have an electrician's job or a mason job. Guess what? You might even be able to drive a car. Who knows? You might even have a bank account. Think about that. And maybe, just maybe, you might can get a really, really nice looking woman to marry your black ass because you got a good job.
No, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. 20%. Like I said, when you look at it, the black family, one of our biggest come up in the 40s and in the 60s was we worked trade school jobs. Before we had all the other immigrants and everything else, guess who was working the blue collar jobs majority of the time? It was us. We were the iron workers, the steel workers, the working in the factories. We had a lot of unions. We worked a lot of jobs that required skills. You got to think, when we came out of slavery, guess who was the most skilled thing after the Civil War? It was the black man. Because all the trade jobs that we learned, I didn't know you was black, but you had the education, but you had the skills.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that my granddaddy taught me how to do was how to fix a tractor. I'm like, I'm never going to have to do this. He said, but you got it. I didn't know that equated to a diesel mechanic job. I'm like, granddaddy, you know that schooling is about, $10,000. He said, well, you got it for free.
Mm-hmm.
But see, those type of jobs we overlook. And I can tell you right now, I can do carpentry. I can do some masonry. I know how to do tiling. I know how to do a lot. I thank God that my daddy dragged me around like a grease monkey.
Oh yeah, I know. I did the same thing. I did the same time.
How do you remember those days? Those are the days that if we look back at, we can say honestly, man, thank you for whoever that was that dragged you around. That deacon or that man, that even if you didn't have a father, that one dude who just dragged you around. Listen, ladies, if you have a son and you see a man out there who has a skill or a job, put your son under that man. I say that if y'all don't peel nothing,
I tell him this shit all the time.
Put your son under that man. Say, listen,
all the time.
You don't have to pay my son top dollar. Just have him learn something. I followed this one dude on he had me doing roofing and tiling, and he would pay me, but I was like, I want to go out there and play with my friends, but all my friends were broke. But here I am, 12 years old, and I'm making $20 an hour. You know how many adults kill to make that type of money? And they got to go to college for that? But this black man, he only had 3 people plus me, and all I was doing was carrying nails up there, make sure they had water, and carrying boards up there. Time to time, they would have me tacking the stuff, shovel up the stuff, put it on the wheelbarrow, put it on the back of the truck and everything. They buy me my icy pops, but I was learning how to do that. Now, I'm like, yo, thank God I know how to do that. So I remember when I didn't have a job, but I knew how to do certain things, like do housing repair. So a lady, I said, hey, your house is leaking. Yeah, I got to pay this dude. He said he's gonna charge me $1,100. $1,100. That's only a $700 job. She said, if I give you $850, will you do it? I said, are you gonna pay for the material? Yeah, I'll pay for the material. I made $600. And it only took me one day. And I took my brother along and I paid him $200. So I came up with $400. But see, the thing about it, as black people, we be oversighting and overlooking these trade jobs. We be overlooking brothers who can, we turn it down too quickly. I'm going to tell you right now, if you go to a trade school, you know how much debt you're going to walk out of when you leave that school? Zero. I maybe I'm wrong about that, but I've been to plumbing school. I didn't owe anybody.
Yeah. And you can make a good living. I tout that, man, because
Yep.
And not only that, think about what a generation of plumbers, carpenters, masons, electricians, roofers, landscapers. I mean, what could a generation of those people accomplish? I think that that's a big problem with us right now, is that we don't have enough people within Black society in certain geographical locations, that we don't have an abundance of skilled people. We don't have an abundance of mechanics, an abundance of carpenters, an abundance of plumbers, an abundance of electricians. We don't have it. We don't have it. Why? Because what are people being taught?
Go to college.
Go to college. That's what they're being taught. Go to college. And if they're not being taught go to college, they're being taught you're going to the NBA. You're going to the NFL. You're going to the National Baseball League. You're going to be a singer. You're going to be a rapper, dancer, entertainer. There's a lot of that, man. And people don't talk about that shit. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear it. But it's a lot of people who are living the goddamn dream and thinking that their kid is going to grow up to be this magical singer. Meanwhile, this damn kid can't even carry a note. They got the kid growing up thinking he gonna be the next Russell Westbrook, and he can barely bounce a damn ball. Okay, you got this girl growing up thinking she's gonna be this entertainer, this dancer, but she got 2 left feet. So a lot of us are living in these false realities, and what we're doing, man, is we're passing these false realities on our children, and a lot of us are passing these false realities by way of suggesting college, because a lot of our children aren't ready for college, don't want to go to college. Some of them too dumb to goddamn go to college. You should just be happy that they made it out of damn high school. So if they want to do something else besides college, it's worth some looking into. Because like you said, you go to trade school, you don't leave with no fucking mountain of debt. And guess what? I know a lot of people who went to college who are unemployed. I don't know too many tradesmen. And where I live at, okay? Where I live at, they're constantly building. There's construction everywhere. All right? I know a lot of people. I know one person with a PhD that's unemployed. I know somebody with a bachelor's that's unemployed right now. Now, I'm a power mechanic. I run a power mechanic shop, and I do contract work for landscapers, plumbers, painters, some roofing guys, some carpenter guys. I don't know any tradesmen. Not saying that it's not any, but none of the ones I know are unemployed, because I know electricians, I know mechanics, I know carpenters, I know landscapers, I know people who cut grass commercial. None of them are unemployed. None of them are unemployed. But I do know someone with a PhD who is unemployed.
Yep.
I know someone with a bachelor's that is unemployed. Think about that. And they probably owe hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't even know. I've never inquired. But these trades guys are working, okay? Taking care of their families, paying their house note, paying their car note. We need more of that, man.
To tackle onto that, let me tell you something that my mom started having me go to when I got pulled out of a minority based school, out of a black school, and I got put into a white school. When I would see a lot of these brothers, a lot of these white dudes showing up, their kids used to look bummy. Like, I don't know, I was trying to wear name brand clothes, but their kids would look raggedy, wearing hold up jeans and flip flops and stuff. But their dad would drive up in a 4x4 F-150, or, have a boat on the back and say, "We're going fishing, Joe. You want to come?" I'm like, "Fishing?" And that giant cruise ship on the back of y'all, behind y'all, say, "Yeah." You know, my dad could teach you how to fix boat engines. And I was like, what? But see, one of the things that we feel as black community is that we don't pass on these trade jobs. We don't push trade school on strong like the others do. We think that's a bad job. I challenge y'all to go look up how much a man makes for fixing a septic tank. I promise you, your jaw will drop. You think that's a disgusting job, but those men don't get dirty, really. They hardly ever get dirty. Actually, just for you to get them to come out there, it's $900. Just for them to look at it. So these jobs that and what's crazy about it, let me tell you, but I went to school for that. When you go to these schools, first thing they do is they set you up before you even finish your school. They already take your application and start already putting you out in front of other jobs and businesses for them to pick you up. College don't do that really. College, they get your money and they're gonna put you in a nice gown and hat and cap. Good luck. Hopefully somebody will take you. But trade school, what makes a trade school keep going is they have to show that they can, hey, we've had 500 students, all 500 of them got into a trade job. That's how they make their money. Because these businesses pay that school for workers. So you already got a job. That's why they say you're guaranteed a job. You know what I'm talking about, Prophet. So by the time you get out, now the next thing is as a journeyman, you're going to have a master that you're under. You're going to either have a master carpenter, mason. One of those guys is going to be over you. And the thing about it is he knows he's going to tell you to do. Take your money, son. Save some aside. Start buying your own equipment. Why would he be telling the journeyman, the apprentice, but before you become a journeyman, you're an apprentice. Why would he be telling the apprentice to start investing his money in himself? See, corporate jobs don't tell you that because they want to keep you under them. But the master understands that one day this guy is going to learn my craft. It might even do it better, like you did, like I did. So I want him to be the best so that way I can probably take my networking that I worked hard for and pass it on to Prophet and say, hey, Prophet, guess what? I got a job. I'm getting too old for this, man. I'm about to go into retirement. Why don't you take these guys and you know what I'm saying? And this happens every day in this type of work. And I wish that there were more brothers like we used to that would put each other on. That's another problem that we don't have, but brothers, we're not putting each other on like we should. If Prophet has this business, which I know he's very successful in, we need to uplift him so he can put more brothers on.
Because all I hire is black people. I've never hired, and I don't care. Y'all can call me prejudice, but I don't give a shit. I've always, everyone who's ever worked for me or works for me now is a black person. That's all I hire is brothers. That's it. So,
And there's nothing wrong with that because I can tell you, I've gone in all mechanic shops and see all white, blonde hair, blue-eyed white boys. The only thing black is the oil on their hands. You can't call it what you want to see, but guess what? Facts don't lie. And half the time they got their sons there teaching them how to work on cars. So guess what? It stays in the family. It's generational wealth. Generational wealth don't always have to be money. The real generational wealth is the knowledge you pass on. How to keep it going. The money will come.
I agree with that. I agree. We need to be. Well, a lot of times, we pass down ideology and pathologies, and a lot of it is just pathology to poverty. We do a lot of that shit. We pass down the pathology of poverty. And, like you said, I believe in young folks learning skills. Young women and young men, they should be learning some type of skill, something that they can fall back on. Because even if they do decide to go to college, I think they also should take a trade too. Because if college don't work out, you can always fall back on the trade because trades are going nowhere.
They ain't never going to die out.
There's never going to be a time where they don't need electricians. There's never going to be a time where they don't need mechanics. There's never going to be a time when they don't need carpenters or roofing people, or there's never going to be that time. Groundskeeping. There's never going to be a time when those people aren't needed. Never. I'm telling you, I know a lot of blue collar people. I know a lot of blue collar brothers. None of them are unemployed. But I know 2 PhDs too. They're unemployed. Think about that. Just think about that, folks. Yeah. Well, you sitting up here, you watching the Prophet of Thought series right here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. I'm here live with Brother Black Talk. So I thought I would just take a few moments to do a little station identification. Now, if you look about right here somewhere, you see that see where it says donate here, Streamlabs, or here at the old PayPal link. Hit any one of those, drop a few coins in the bucket. It's duly appreciated because you know everything that I do, I go ahead and I sink it right back into the old T.P.O.T machine. But y'all know that already. So hit one of those links right there that you see right about there with my fingers pointing. And if you don't mind, get a few likes up in this area somewhere. See right there, that thumb that goes like this? Let's get a few likes up there, all right? Look out for the brother. I mean, if you're not going to hit the like, if you're not going to hit the like on the way in, at least hit the like on the way out. Thank you. It's appreciated. We coming up on the end of the show, so I'm gonna go ahead and let Black Male Talk give some final thoughts, and then I'm gonna give my little ending thought. Go ahead, brother. And make sure you shout out your channels and your media and all that kind of stuff too. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah. The main thing, if y'all got anything from this lovely talk that we had, and I mean, it started out really well. And I try to tell a lot of Black people, especially if y'all didn't learn anything from us two, that we didn't know each other. He opened up the door to say, hey, you can always come on, you can always talk, and we can get to know each other, and we can actually get to, pass on each other's knowledge. And to my surprise, and I even encourage that on my channel. And that really does warm my heart. You made a brother today. You definitely made a brother. Anytime you want to do it, come on my platform, or if I see you open, if I see you open and you doing your channel, I will come in, I will like, and I will sit in and I will watch, because we need to learn how to support each other. And if anything, that's the main thing we were beating and talking about a lot on this today, was that one, we need to start passing on knowledge. We need to be more aware, and we need to be able to have the mindset to rethink the process that is breaking us down. And if you want to look us up on our YouTube channel, Black Male Talk, you can find me. I'll probably put the link in the description. I'll probably put it in not description. I'm so used to saying my channel. I'll put it in. I'll put it in the chat. I encourage you to come over there. If you subscribe to our channel, anything you want us to talk about, we'll talk about it. Anything, if subscribers have a question, we answer it within 2 to 3 days. We answer the question. If subscribers want to come on our channel, we allow them to come on our channel and talk with the panel on anything. As long as there's nothing that is disrespectful or is bashing, but you gotta be careful. YouTube, they watch all. Big Brother watches all. So, you say the wrong thing and it's attacking certain type of people or groups, they'll shut you down. So, other than that, I'm open to have any type of open discussion or talk. Just like, and I think the brother Prophet of Thought, this not a lot of YouTubers, especially Black YouTube channel, the Black network. This is very rare that stuff like this for stuff like this to happen, for a brother to take his platform and allow another brother to come on. It's very rare. So, I mean, I thank you for doing that, brother. So that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. Everybody who's up in here, the people who follow me, I got a pretty, my audience and subscribers are small, but they're loyal. Okay, my followers and subscribers are loyal. They're loyal people, boy, and they know how we do it here. They know I'll have anybody on. I mean, like I said, you look through my archives, you can see all the people that I've had on my show. Some people who are very, very famous and people you don't even know. So, I mean, this is an open forum because it's about opening minds. So we're always open, and I'm gonna have you back, brother, because we do, we here at old T.P.O.T, man, we do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of stuff. Because you're not the only conservative brother that I know. All right. I have another brother, brother Corey Haywood, who's also a conservative, but he's a little more volatile than you. So you pretty laid back and calm. Corey's very volatile. Yeah, and most of my subscribers hate him, but he's still my man. But I mean, I don't agree with everything the brother say. I disagree with a lot of shit that he says, but I respect his intelligence and I respect his point of view, so he's my man. But most of my subscribers do quite hate him. Yeah, they hate him. So I mean, you're relatively, you're laid back, you're low key, very measured, brother. Like I said, I listened to some of your videos, man. Y'all need to go on down there and subscribe to the brother's channel. As a matter of fact, we're gonna do this here. Go on down there, subscribe to the brother's channel, show him some love. Go ahead and do this. Go ahead and get this up here. Put the brother link in the chat and get on down there. Like, share, subscribe to the brother. Show him some love. Like I said, go ahead and hit that link so you can subscribe to the brother's channel. Because the brother talks about some good shit. So you know what it is. Go on down there, show the brother some love. The T.P.O.T way. Y'all know how to do it. Y'all know how we do it here. I just want to say this before we cut out. I know that oftentimes that I say things that people don't want to hear. And I know the brother BlackMaleTalk, I know he says shit that people don't want to hear with many other brothers. There's probably thousands of brothers on YouTube and everywhere else. We say things that a lot of people do not want to hear. And that's fine because everybody shouldn't agree. But the problems start when we try to dictate what others say. Because see, I don't have to tune in. If I don't like what BlackMaleTalk talks about, I don't have to go to his channel. I could say, you know what? I don't like what BlackMaleTalk talks about, so I ain't watching his stuff. That's it. Same with me. You don't have to like what I'm talking about. You don't have to like it. But guess what? You also don't have to watch it. You could say, you know what? I don't like the shit they talk about on T.P.O.T. I'm not watching that shit. I feel the same way about anybody else, about whatever they say, because people I don't like, if I don't like their message, I don't watch them. I'm not going to watch their message just to talk about how much I hate them. That's stupid. If I don't like their message, I don't watch it. That's it. So, far as media goes, far as black people go, one thing we have to understand is this, that there's always going to be people who agree with you. There's always going to be people who stroke your ego. There are always going to be people who think that thinking the same as you makes you feel better. There's always going to be people who co-sign our bullshit. But the people who are more likely to be true to themselves are also going to be true to you, even if it means they don't stroke your ego, even if they don't agree with you, even if they don't give a damn about your feelings. Because, see, truth is truth, y'all. Regardless of how it makes you feel, regardless of how much you disagree with it, facts are facts, even if we don't believe them. And that's something that we need to understand as Black folks, because, see, I've been saying this for a couple weeks now, and I'll say it again. Reality will heal Black folks. Reality is going to heal Black folks. Not fantasy, not pathology, not marching. None of that shit. None of that shit's going to heal Black folks. It's just not. Studying the ancient Egyptian monuments, none of that shit is going to heal Black folks. None of that fantasy shit. Love and hip hop, Real Housewives and basketball. None of that shit is going to heal Black folks. What's going to heal Black folks is reality. I will say it again. Reality will heal Black folks. The only problem we going to have is what the perception of each person's particular reality is. That's going to be our problem. But anyway, I want to thank y'all for stopping by. I want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to thank my mods, as usual, always showing up, always doing what they're supposed to do. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming through, man, and spending some time with us, man. It's always a pleasure, man, to come up here and do these things for y'all, man, and have y'all attention. And hopefully y'all learn something from me. Hopefully y'all learn something from Brother Black Male Talk. So this is what I need y'all to do tonight. I need you to go on down the Prophet of Thought series on Facebook. That's Prophet of Thought series on Facebook. That's our main Facebook page. Go up there, like the channel, follow the channel. Like I always say, I can't believe there's almost 1,000 people following the page. It's crazy. Let's try to get it to a stack before the end of the month. Also, go to the T.P.O.T bandwagon page. That's the T.P.O.T bandwagon on Facebook. Send us a friend request through there. We'll make sure we'll click it back quick. And also make sure you stop by the Prophet of Thought series fan group page on Facebook. Yep, the Prophet of Thought series fan group page on Facebook. Go up there. The numbers are climbing. We almost at 3,000 members. Come on, y'all. Let's get 3 G's before the month's out. Let's do it. You go up there. There's a lot of good stuff up there. It's not just my stuff. There's other members of the group stuff. So go ahead, right on up there to the Prophet of Thought series fan group page on Facebook. Request to be a member. I guaranteed you'll get in quick. Let's go ahead and get it up to 3 G's. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's right, Prophet of Thought on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. You automatically going to get a follow back. So go ahead and check out Prophet of Thought on Instagram. And also, we have a Twitter, and it's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. That's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. Like I tell y'all every damn week, follow me on Twitter or I'll haunt your black ass in your sleep. Also, get on down there to the website, www.don'tevenTryIt.wikifoundry.com. That's www.don'tevenTryIt.wikifoundry.com. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Some of X's old archives from the Nubia Hood radio days are there. There's a short bio of T.P.O.T there. Also, you can catch the Unicorn 4 there too. Now, like I always say, the site's still under construction, but you can catch everybody there. You'll also catch a quick bio of the Unicorn 4 there as well. And also, I have Tribute to the Fallen, and I'm going to start talking about this more on the air, y'all. Those of you who follow the website, you know, on the Tribute to the Fallen page, we have images of people who have died needlessly, whether by gun violence, police violence, just needless violence. And we have it's a carousel of pictures of people who are now deceased, but it is a tribute to these fallen people. So if you go to that page, you check that out. There's a lot of faces up there that you probably know, some that you don't. Also, if you know somebody or knew someone or had a family member or a picture off the news, if you want that picture to be part of Tribute to the Fallen, just write me an email, because my email's on the Tribute to the Fallen page. Just write me an email, send me the picture, and make sure you give me the person's name, and I'll make sure they go up on the old Tribute to the Fallen carousel. So keep that in mind when you go down to the website www.don'teventryit.wikifoundry.com. Go on down and scroll down to the Tribute to the Fallen page, and if there's someone you want to be paid tribute to on our site, just send us a photograph and I will make sure it gets up there. All right, so get on down there and check that out. Once again, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Black Male Talk, and I want to thank everybody out there for spending some time with us. And also, make sure you have your black behinds here tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time for the Unicorn 4. Yes, Unicorn 4 mixed with a little Dark Exodus. So y'all already know how that's going down. Y'all already know what's going down. We're going in tomorrow, and tomorrow's title is going to be, Is Consciousness a Con? So make sure you be here tomorrow to check out T.P.O.T, Lady Cats, Lady Ming, Lady Kendra, and Lady Classic, the Unicorn 4, with a little Dark Exodus. It's going to be one you don't want to miss, I promise. So once again, I want to thank the brother for showing up. Black Male Talk. Y'all make sure y'all get on down there and freaking get on down there and subscribe to his channel, like his videos, share and watch them, show the brother some love. With that, I will leave you with 3 words. Like I always do, open your minds. And we are out of here, y'all.
The Prophet of Thought series.
Peace, folks.
See you guys.